Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, May 30th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is our 3 of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union frequency. One of the things that we see has been occurring right now, I have to point this out, a lot of energetic strength, because what we've effectively been seeing is a lot of that work in terms of coming into that feeling of the reaffirmation of one's own path work, being able to see something from the past with new optics, with new perception. One of the things that we are experiencing and seeing at that time does require a moment of shifting energetically, because if these were spaces and places wherein you experience something from a certain perspective, your own ability to change one's perspective around those spaces and places, that is effectively having that sense of re-navigating and reorienting not just your own personal perspective on situations and circumstances from the past, but it also requires that moment of energetic empathy in relation to how you are perceiving some of the energies that were around those experiences and cycles. This is just one of those moments. It feels like a little bit of that energetic hairiness that is coming into play, because what we see and recognize what occurs in those moments at our own perception shift, that changes again not just our own perception, but it changes the perception of the energy that was around circumstances and situations. So we see that a lot of that work right now, it can feel a little energetically disorienting. It can be those moments that makes you kind of look forward and towards around you, because one of the things that we're seeing is for a lot of the energy that is moving deep in the heart of the divine union frequency is the recognition point of one's own perspective that might not necessarily be energetically shared by those around you. That can often feel like a bit of an energetic hurdle, right? That can feel like those moments that almost feel like they kind of separate you away from other energies, because that is that moment that almost requires that ability to be able to articulate one's own perception in such a way that others can understand and accept it. So we see even now that one of the feelings that we were recognizing and identifying that a lot of the energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency was navigating was that point of recognition, in that understanding of the value and significance of being in an energetically safe space in order to facilitate that amount or that degree of energetic healing. And that can be very difficult, right? Because that ability of recognizing that is that moment that we saw that the counterpart energy didn't necessarily do anything to facilitate that type of breakthrough work. It's just simply being in the energetic presence of energy that feels like it allows you a sense of building a counterpoint from what you experienced from the past. So we see even now that recognition point, it feels very difficult to put into words. So we see that a lot of the energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency is almost trying to find a way to articulate to those energies around you how that perceptual shift has occurred, or what is effectively brought forth in you. Because there's that moment that you may be recognizing and understanding that your own perception might not necessarily be one that is being experienced by those around you. While for masculine, but the ability to try to articulate it is a lot of the goal of the energy deep in the heart of the divine union right now. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into the divine union, this has more to do with that idea or that aspect of creating something from nothing. We saw even now that a lot of the energy that is moving into the divine union frequency, it's one of those moments that the tangible space feels like it's becoming the energetic obstruction, right? Because if these were energies that felt like they were in a space or place where they were happy in their healing journey in separation, suddenly encountering and meeting the counterpart in such a way that it feels like the amplification point of one's own path work, that doesn't feel so much like a shift that's occurring, so much as it feels like you're almost energetically coming home, right? You're like moving in the directionality of the energy that feels like it is in alignment to you. And some of that may be creating some spaces or places of energetic disruption, particularly in the situations and circumstances energetically around some of these energies, right? Because that's that moment that is almost hard to put into words. So we see even now that if these are, and we also saw that a lot of these processes are moving at a much more rapid pace. So that ability to almost amplify and to help energy understand why that rapid movement is occurring, like that in itself may feel a little disorienting, because that's that moment that almost feels like the energy around you may be perceiving something is happening very quickly, but it's almost that moment that you have to try to articulate to someone and say, yeah, it's happening quickly because it was energetically inevitable. It was happening quickly because you weren't necessarily expecting it to happen, right? These aren't energies that are trying to find each other because they're moving towards manifestation goals. These are energies that are coming into alignment. And when you come into alignment with someone, you feel that energetic connection and you share manifestation goals, well, then it just seems logical to be able to move very quickly, because that's that moment that feels that like that similarity is almost expediting those energetic processes. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into, like in separation right now, this is a little bit more of that energy that we saw and recognized that was leading to what may have felt like a little bit more, I don't even want to say a make or break moment, in relation to some of the new energetic connections that were being formed during this last period or this last cycle of the month. Because what we effectively saw, that for a lot of that energy, that ability to articulate, that ability to amplify, we saw a lot of energy making new energetic connections and building momentum and an ability to articulate and talk about the past path work. But that was that moment, and we saw that over the last few days, that needed that amplification point, needed that point of seeing whether someone could take that and implement that work, not just in a perception of the past, but being able to articulate and amplify what they want and expect and desire from the future. This is more of that energetic equivalent of the energy that's in healing, recognizing and identifying that they're not holding it as their responsibility to force that spring. This is the energy that, again, is recognizing and identifying that the ability to articulate upon a manifestation goal for the healed energy, that's not feeling like an achievement that needs to be unlocked once you've moved into energetic alignment with someone. That is that moment that is creating that space of it being an energetic requirement. We told you, one of the things we articulated is one of the signs of the energy that's in the healing modality right now is holding themselves to a higher energetic standard. So even now, if these are situations we see here in separation, that there are one of three different contexts that are happening for the energy in separation that is doing this work. These are either moments and modalities wherein the energy are sharing their manifestation goals. They're feeling that sense of alignment. They're not articulating a path of commitment by articulating the manifestation goal, but just feeling like one is on the same page creates a space of healing and relief, because you're moving into something with the clarity and perception of wanting and desiring the same things. While we see here that if these were situations and scenarios where we see that the energy may have articulated what those manifestation goals were, even in the modality of experiencing and articulating manifestation goals that are different from one another's, even in that moment, it feels like a healing moment. It feels like a refreshing sigh of relief, because the ability to have an open conversation about something that may have created a violent, volatile rift or a lot of wounds in the past, being able to just address something in a very positive, healing, productive way, even in a moment that you're not sharing the same manifestation goal with someone, it feels like an energetic breakthrough, because it doesn't end a partnership. It doesn't end the possibility of an energetic commitment. It may shift it to a different place, but there's always that possibility that exists that someone else's manifestation goals may change that would allow for alignment at some point in the future. So even here, we see that that feels like a reaffirmation of pathwork, even if it's not leading to energetic connection. While for masculine and feminine energy, the only place we are seeing that this may be leading to the dissolution or the break or fracture point of what was starting to feel like an energetic connection is taking shape is if there is a reluctance or an inability to be able to articulate what those manifestation goals are. Because that is the energy that is in the healed modality, recognizing and understanding that either one of two different things is happening when someone cannot share a manifestation goal. Either it is from a lack of knowing, not knowing what energetic direction someone wants to head into. And a lot of the energy that's in the healed modality knows the direction that they're trying to move into. So that would be a moment of saying, this is someone who doesn't energetically know where direction that they're in. They may be holding on too much to the past, and it's making it too difficult for them to be able to articulate what those manifestations goals are moving forward. Or this is an energy that is not overcome their own confidence enough to be able to speak from a place of authenticity and relationality to what they aspire and desire. And for a lot of the energy, not wanting to be in energetic connection with energy that hasn't worked on the self enough to be able to articulate what one desires, that's almost enough for a lot of the energy to step back, because a lot of this energy here is reaffirming the commitment of not building into the pathwork of assumption. The final area that we see this on, which is again could potentially lead right now to some stepping away, is if there's energy here that feels a reluctance, there's also that possibility that the reason someone doesn't want to reveal a manifestation goal is because they feel like that manifestation goal would not be shared, is not something that can be shared. So you see, even in these contexts, whatever the reason is, this isn't the energy that's waiting or sticking around to try to find out why someone doesn't have an ability to articulate upon a manifestation goal. They're just seeing if the ability is present there to articulate whether there is a pathwork of possibility or whether there is not. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our 3 of Wands in its reversal. So even here, you will recall we saw this card in its upright for the last couple of days, because we're seeing what happened with the energy that was in its upright. A lot of that energy is moving into the divine union frequency. So if these are moments or modalities, even if there were friendships that were forming here, the ability to articulate what one desires going forward, that is what is building the energetic connection of the energy that's moving deeper into the divine union frequency. If the energy is not seeing that ability to articulate upon what one desires and aspires going forward, that is the energy in separation that's basically saying, it's not my responsibility. Right? It's not my energetic responsibility to wait or anticipate. This is the energy, again, in separation that is reaffirming that the ability to speak towards a manifestation goal isn't an energetic accomplishment that is received after building an energetic connection with someone. This is a lot of the energy that is working through that pathwork of understanding that when we build an energetic connection with someone without articulating and being clear in sharing the same manifestation goals, that is where we build those spaces or places that we feel like we experience that rift, because there are those moments where we suddenly realize that we feel an energetic connection with someone, but we want different things and we're desiring to go in different path points. This is why so much of this energy and healing right now is creating this as an energetic standard to avoid those type of situations, those type of karmic situations from occurring in the first place. And that is that moment where the identification point is recognized, that by being able to express the manifestation goal prior to experiencing an energetic connections with someone, that's not putting the cart before the horse. That's putting the horse before the cart, because that is making sure that you're saying to someone, which direction are you headed, before building an energetic connection. That's why we see even now that for the energy, even the energy right now that is having those open communications or open conversations about recognizing that you have different manifestation goals, these aren't spaces or places wherein they're disrupting the connection entirely. There's still some kind of possibility there that we see that is happening in friendships being able to build some kind of vital connection, but it's coming from a place of openness, clarity, and understanding in relationality to being able to see the path that another person is moving towards that amplifies the place on where we find them on the journey. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, this is the energetic equivalent of feeling that sense of positivity, feeling that sense of easement. This is the energy that isn't moving in alignment with one another to reach manifestation goals. Do you see what occurs here? While the energy coming into separation needs to navigate that sense of recognizing and seeing if you're heading in the same direction. When you're headed in the same direction, you don't need to feel that need of getting there, because you're enjoying the progress of moving in that direction, right? So even here, if these are energies If these are energies that are almost building into that inevitability point, like something is just coming together naturally, it's almost that moment that may be hard to explain to those around you, because there's that moment that feels like you're trying to describe something ineffable. You're trying to describe something that you could not necessarily energetically anticipate, because it's not necessarily that moment where they may see that things are shifting around you, but you're trying to articulate to them and say, it's not that anything is shifting around me, it's the fact that I'm moving closer to what I want and what I aspire, and I found energy that builds that point of strength in doing so. So while for the energy right now, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, this has more to do with that sense of building into that point or path work of affirming one's own path and one's own commitment to the path. Because we see even now that a lot of this energy feels like that sense of being able to heal something from the past wasn't something that they were anticipating when they were coming into energetic union with the counterpart. This wasn't energy that like came into union with counterpart energy and said, I would like to enter a divine union with you because there's some stuff in the past that I would like to heal. So if we could just do that, that would be great. Can we just do that? No, this is the energy that is recognizing the beauty and the breakthrough of what can occur almost inadvertently, that those surprising insights, those surprising moments, those pathworks of healing that you can't anticipate or expect, that often just happen in the result of feeling the energetic healing of where you are in the present. So if these are energies right now that are moving towards, that are in divine union, and they're having the energy of the counterpart, that's suddenly building that sense of perception and clarity, that they can see something in a way that they couldn't see something before, that is allowing for a heightened degree of healing. This is that energy that's like kind of like marveling at the circumstance, because that's that moment of almost saying to oneself, I wasn't necessarily moving into the divine union frequency for the hope of trying to heal the past, but here we are, right? There's that moment of saying like, oh, now I can see something in a different way that I could never see were it not being in this energetic space. And when you can't see something when you're not in an energetic space, you also can't anticipate what you might be able to heal in that space. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our moon card. Our moon card in its reversal. You can't see what you can't see. You can't see what you can't see. So what we're effectively seeing here, that for a lot of that energy, working through that process, it feels so much like something that is hard to put into words, specifically because it's one of those moments that a lot of the energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency is recognizing that they're healing things that they didn't even recognize that they were holding. They're healing things that they didn't even know were wounds. They didn't even recognize were harmful, because that's that moment that, again, being in the right energy, like you couldn't, how can you see something that needs to be healed if you're still energetically experiencing it? So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, that feels like that sense of excitement, that feels like that sense of possibility, because that's that moment of saying, well, if I just healed something that I didn't even realize I was going to heal just simply by being in an energetic connection in such a way that it changes my own perception, what else is there that I'm not going to be able to, like, what else do I not recognize yet, right? It's that sense of curiosity. It's that sense of possibility. It's that sense of energetic excitement that comes from that affirmation to a certain extent in working through that pathwork of recognizing and understanding the self, that feels like it is a continuation and a progressive journey. That's what we mean when we say we're never fully healed. There's always something around that energetic corner. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is that moment that we're potentially seeing to a certain extent that feels like the amplification, the moving forward, that rushing, if you will, of things picking up momentum to a degree. And if these are energies that around them, if these are energies that everyone's seeing something that feels like it's gaining momentum, and there's that energetic equivalent of trying to explain why something is moving so quickly, there's almost that moment that is hard to articulate to someone, because it's not that moment that you feel like you're shifting, right? It doesn't feel so much like that moment that you're changing your plans. It feels more like the energy saying, I'm moving quickly because I found what I'm looking for. right? I'm moving quickly because I found what I'm looking for. So we see even now that that sense of energetic purpose, that's what's so beautiful about it, because that's the sense of not feeling like one is moving towards a manifestation goal to secure something. It feels like one is moving towards a manifestation goal because it feels inevitable not to, right? And if that something feels like it is inevitable, then there's that sense of saying like, well, what's the point of purpose of waiting? Well, for masculine and feminine energy in separation, this is the opposite. This is not the energy that is articulating a sense of commitment by expressing the manifestation goal. This is the energy that's recognizing and saying either the manifestation goal is there or it's not. That's why we say even now, a lot of the energy in separation is recognizing that when we have a manifestation goal, that manifestation goal isn't necessarily something that becomes adaptable person per person. We've all got dreams. We've all got aspirations. This is why we see that so much of the energy in separation right now, masculine and feminine, they're not trying to puzzle out why a masculine, like a manifestation goal isn't being energetically presented if it's not there. They're just observing that if it's not there, regardless of the reason, it means that there is a limitation point in being able to build a truly strong energetic connection. Because that is that moment that just feels like that sense of observation and saying it's either there or it's not. It's not about trying to investigate why, because that's the energy that's almost reaffirming their own commitment and saying that they do not want to spend their time, effort, and energy trying to understand why a manifestation goal isn't being brought to the light of day. They're just identifying whether it's there or not. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread is, we've got here our Knight of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now in separation. This is, again, and I have to say, for a lot of the feminine energy and masculine energy in separation right now, there are some different things that are potentially occurring. For, as we said, what we just saw was happening over the last few days was a lot of energy articulating upon what those manifestation goals were. Even in those moments, we're seeing that the manifestation goals did not match. There was a moment of recognizing that lack of match. There's still that moment where you're almost moving into the divine union. You're still moving into some kind of frequency here of energetic accompaniment, because that ability of speaking openly and honesty, like even if it doesn't mean that the manifestation goal is the same, there's still that reorganization of where someone energetically exists within your own etheric space that allows for the possibility of potentiality or possibility. Because those are healed karmic connections that feel like they're being met with clarity, openness, honesty, and authenticity. You don't dissolve an energetic partnership because you don't have the same manifestation goals in that context. You will move into a space or place where you acknowledge and appreciate and respect one another as you proceed forward on your journey. What you might describe as like a close friend or something in relationality to that, feeling that sense of energetic kinship in recognizing someone that is doing the same path work on your own energetic journey. The only space or place where we are potentially seeing the beginning of connections that are now potentially dissolving again are those modalities where someone articulated to the other and asked what that manifestation goal was. If that manifestation goal isn't being brought forth, we see that a lot of energy isn't taking a wait and see approach right now. This is the feminine energy feeling, even at this moment of doing so, that they are making a key accomplishment on their own energetic lessons, because this is the feminine energy articulating and reaffirming to themselves. They are not building into pathways of assumption with masculine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is the feminine energy building a pathwork of resilience for themselves that is being re-amplified by saying that the job and journey of the feminine towards the masculine is not expecting that the masculine revealing the manifestation goal is an accomplishment. This is the feminine energy saying that that is not an accomplishment, it is a requirement. So if the feminine energy is not receiving that from the masculine, regardless of the reason, because that's the feminine energy, looking at all the reasons and saying all of those reasons, regardless of what the reason is showing an inviability of being able to proceed forward, That is the feminine energy reaffirming their own energetic commitment and saying, I'm not going to explore and experience why. I'm not going to try to like shake that out of the masculine like a box of Cracker Jacks. I'm just going to see if it's present. And if it's not present, that's either because the masculine energy does not know what they energetically want, or is still working too much in a space of fear not to be vulnerable enough to be able to express it, or has a manifestation goal that they do not want to reveal to the feminine. And that's a feminine energy is saying in any of those constructs, it's not a viable way to be able to proceed forward. While for masculine energy right now in separation, we are seeing even now that even if these are spaces and places wherein you are reshifting your own energetic connection with the feminine, you are feeling the breakthrough of affirmation, because this is not creating the masculine energy that is articulating a manifestation goal to the healed feminine. This isn't the feminine energy accusing or holding it against the masculine, whatever that truth is. That is the healed feminine that is coming into a place of acceptance and being able to have a positive conversation about the acceptance that you're not in energetic alignment. That in itself is leading a lot of the masculine energy in separation to feel like they're having a breakthrough, because that is the feeling like that act of courage is showing its evidence in having a different energetic result that doesn't lead to the feminine holding it against the masculine, but almost creating that new energetic bond with the feminine that recognizes the value and authenticity of the masculine, that has the confidence and courage to be able to lead forward towards them in this way. The only space or place that we are seeing that there may be a moment right now that may be creating a degree of conflict for masculine is if there is, again, still trying to overcome that lack of courage, working through one's own emotionality to be able to be energetically open and authentic to the feminine. It is difficult work. I'm not minimizing this in any vector for how hard this is for the masculine energy, because it does feel energetically oppositional to a certain extent in being able to lead forward in this way, because masculine energy is not only navigating the anxiety and fear of being able to reveal a dream to the feminine, but they're also navigating not allowing anything of the feminine not coming into alignment with them to feel like an act of rejection, so much as just observing that it articulates a lack of alignment. So we see even now that for the masculine energy that's working through this is either feeling like a sense of energetic catharsis that's coming through in that sense of recognizing if the feminine does not meet your own manifestation goal. Or for some of the masculine energy, if this is you stepping back from an energetic connection, this is the reaffirmation of the masculine that's reaffirming to themselves and saying, if I move towards the feminine, I better know what it is that I want. Because only in knowing what I want can I build a positive, strong connection with the feminine. So even now, we see that this is either leading to some masculine energy and separation, going through that pathwork of introspection, looking towards one's own self and saying, well, what is it that I truly seek going forward? Or this is working masculine energy that is feeling the vitality of having expressed that to the feminine. And even if there are spaces and places where there was not alignment, this is creating the possibility, there's still the promise of possible connection at some point in the future, should those manifestation goals change. So even now we see that there's healing that's occurring in separation. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, one card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now in separation. This is why we see right now that even in these moments that may feel like they are energetically difficult for some of the energy in separation, even if they're not leading towards a manifestation goal, there is a lot of catharsis that's coming into play, because a lot of it has to do with recognizing the difference between moving towards one another from a place of openness and honesty versus spaces and places where you may have been able to experience those rifts or those wounds in the past. If these are energies that are stepping back from one another, but they're doing it in a place or space of clarity and openness and understanding, this is one of those moments that the masculine, you may be learning, you're saying, oh, even when I'm authentic, even in those moments of authenticity, the ability to be able to step away from something and someone not energetically taking it personally. That moment of energetic respect that occurs between me and a feminine when I articulate to them what it is that I want, and the feminine says that's not what I want. That's the masculine saying, this is how energetically easy it can be, because this is the masculine energy recognizing and identifying that even in that moment of articulating that, that is a moment that feels like that clarity is the gift that you give one another, that allows for an easement even around something that may feel like it creates a sense of disappointment or energetic sadness, right? There's the energetic sadness that comes from a space of hurt, of shame, of embarrassment, of guilt. But then there's the energetic disappointment that feels just like, oh, we want different things. Oh, we clear that up sooner rather than later. It's almost like, it's one of those moments that we're seeing that for some of the masculine being like, this pricks, but like it's not a blow. It doesn't feel like something that knocks me down. It's something that like can be overcome. Because that's almost the masculine working through that process of, again, recognizing that if the feminine energy doesn't share the manifestation goal of the masculine, it shouldn't impact or affect the masculine ego. It's recognizing that that is just a feminine energy that holds a manifestation goal that's separate and different than the masculine. So even now, even in those moments of separation, this is the masculine going, this is better, this is easier, this isn't something I'm taking energetically personally. I'm accepting the sting of disappointment, but not letting it feel like it's a blow to the energetic ego. So even in that moment, this feels like an accomplishment for the masculine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Simultaneously, if this is feminine energy that went through that process and had the masculine energy amplify and articulate their manifestation goal from a place of honesty and clarity, and yours did not match, this is the feminine that is still feeling that energetic connection with that masculine, because in the moment that the masculine offered the feminine the possibility, said, I am presenting this to you as an equal, I am offering this to you as a possibility, that is the feminine energy that immediately starts to feel that sense of creating almost a space of flexibility. Why? Because that is the feminine energy seeing a masculine that approaches the feminine in such a way that it amplifies the fact of saying, I see you as someone who I want to give the gift of choice to. So for the feminine energy to see a masculine that is moved into that modality, that has that ability, and even in that moment of recognizing that there are manifestations that they have that don't necessarily match, not the masculine becoming resentful or not taking it personally, but almost being able to like shoulder that moment and having that moment of saying, recognizing that the possibility of the future leaves for the changes or anything to be possible. That is the feminine energy that is immediately also energetically healing, even in moments of separation wherein that occurs, because that's the feminine energy remembering all of the experiences where masculine did not give them that ability to choose. And that is the feminine energy that is immediately, even in that moment, continuing to maintain a connection with a masculine in that modality, because that is the feminine energy recognizing and identifying a masculine that they feel is truly on the healing journey. While for masculine and feminine energy moving into the divine union right now, that clarity, that gift of clarity that you're building in one another, we see there's a lot of new energy that just coming into the divine union frequency right now. And a lot of that energy, what's funny about it is some of the energy is not building in a place of it's not building in that place or space of a commitment. These are energies that basically just clarified to one another that they are moving in the same direction, right? So it's not even that sense of commitment, but even that sense of being able to recognize and identify and feel like you're moving in the same direction. There is a slowness there. There is a wait and see that's happening. But again, there's that relief that is being felt, because that's that sensation of feeling that easement of saying, I'm moving with someone who wants the same things that I do. Even in that modality. While as we got some energy right now that's basically coming into deep in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, that is moving with like an inevitability point. It's the opposite. It's that feeling. That's like the waterfall effect, because that's that feeling right now where we see a lot of things that are changing very quickly. Because the energy is like, I didn't expect to be moving this quickly either, but I just came through this whole pathwork of finding someone who wants the same manifestation goals as me. I've seen all these sides of them. There's nothing I don't like. Everything I see, I just want more of. I've navigated their insecurities. I feel the sense of their energetic vulnerabilities being my own. And that's that moment that feels like, everything that's just obstructing the energetic connection just feels like it's in the way. And that's why we see a lot of that energy that's moving so quickly right now, that it's more just bringing everyone else like up to speed as to where they are energetically. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, a lot of this path work, it feels like a lot of the energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency right now just feels like that beautiful completion of an energetic cycle. Because to be able to reach a point in the heart of the divine union frequency, when you're healing things that you didn't even anticipate the ability to heal from the time of entering the commitment, even in that moment, it feels like the energetic gift, because that is, again, something that you couldn't have had necessarily foreseen that was going to occur. And what experience, like what kind of miracle is it when we recognize that something happens that we could not foresee? Well, that leaves the possibility of anything that could happen. Like a lot of the energy right now, deep in the heart and divine union frequency, is almost going through that marvelous moment of saying, well, if that happened, I wasn't expecting it. What else could happen, right? In a positive way. Continuing to get clarification between our Three of Cups in its reversal and our Three of Wands in its reversal. Have you guys noticed, I'm going to say it again, all the doubled cards we've been getting ever since we got into Gemini season? It's really hilarious. Our double threes in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with the Page of Swords in its reversal. This card may look familiar. We ended our reading on it with it yesterday, but it was in its upright. What are we seeing right now? Masculine and feminine energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency is just navigating that pathwork to a certain extent, in feeling a lot of that sense or sensation of having observed something that they didn't expect to heal, that is energetically healing, specifically just in that space or place of where they are in divine union. And that's that moment that feels like it's very hard to articulate to someone, because I told you, it's not that these energies are doing this because of the energy of the counterpart, but the energy of the counterpart is effectively allowing that sense of security and safety enough to be able to create that space or place of doing it for them, their own self, right? So this becomes very difficult to be able to articulate to those around you, which is that sense of saying it's not that that person did something, but their own ability of helping recognize something that I could not see allows an ability to be able to heal within the self in a way that you could not anticipate. It's hard to put into words. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into the divine union frequency right now, a lot of that path work that we're seeing is that motion or that momentum that is potentially occurring right now for a lot of the energy that is feeling that sense of energetic alignment with the counterpart right now. And that's a lot of that energy that's moving much more quickly than they expected or anticipated, specifically because they didn't expect to energetically feel this way. There's like a lot of that feeling of trying to like articulate and amplify energetic surprise to others here that's happening across the frequencies. And so a lot of that, it feels like a little bit of that moment that's like, well, it's a little hard to explain, right? While for the masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, a lot of this energy, again, and I'll even say the energy coming into divine union right now, we've got a lot of energy that's feeling that inevitability that's leading them now to like make a lot of fast changes. We've got a lot of new energy coming into the divine union right now. And what's interesting about that new energy coming into divine union is it's not the fact that there's been a commitment that has been stated here. These aren't energies that have committed to one another. The confirmation that they have the same manifestation goal, that in itself, an ability to articulate. And even now, and this is what's interesting for some of the energy coming into the divine union frequency, even now, potentially energy that recognizes that they have different manifestation goals, but they're able to articulate upon it in an open, forthright fashion. Even some of that energy is moving into the divine union frequency right now, because even in that moment of recognizing that there may be an inviability point in the pathwork at the moment, there's always the possibility of something that could energetically change. A lot of the energy right now, the energy in separation, is simply a lot of the energy that wasn't necessarily seeing the ability of energy to be able to articulate and express what the manifestation goal is. That's really the only space or place that we're seeing that there may be some connections that that energy are stepping back from right now. Because again, doesn't have to do with the reasons. Nobody's sticking around to understand the reasons, just not seeing it. It's either there or it's not. This is a lot of energy, masculine and feminine right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, that is re-amplifying the sense of saying to one another in both energies in separation. My job, like coming into partnership with someone, building a connection, does not allow for a state or space of saying that the articulation of a manifestation goal is the accomplishment. It's the energetic standard. It's the requirement. You can't, like, that's just the energy saying they don't want to build those connections again that feel like they're painful, that feel like people are pulling each other on different pathwork. And this is how the energy is preventing that from happening. They're saying dead stop. If you're not able to articulate what your manifestation goal is, then that's not a space or place that the energy is willing to inhabit, because they're basically saying it's too energetically dangerous to do so. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Three of Wands in its reversal and our Moon card in its reversal. One card to clarify. Woo! Oh my God! Here's that third three card. I told you, we had a few days ago, we had all the 10 cards out. Now we're going to get all the 3 cards out. We've got our Three of Pentacles in its reversal right now. We've got all the energy here. So masculine and feminine energy in separation. This is how a lot of the healed energy is looking at this, right? You can't build with someone if they don't know what they want to build. You can't build with someone if they know what they want to build, but they're not willing to tell you what they want to build. That's basically it's like that's how much clarity is coming for a lot of the energy and separation that's on the healing journey. Saying anything is possible, but the ability to express what one is desiring, what that potentiality is, what that aspiration is. That is why so much of the energy in separation is saying that is no longer an accomplishment in someone being able to articulate what it is that they desire after you've built an energetic connection with them. This is the energy saying, state your business. Be able to articulate and amplify what it is that you want going forward. To be able to articulate upon that is how the energy in the healing journey is amplifying and seeing the difference between the energy that is in that modality of just feeling that like uncertainness, just feeling that like wait and see, just kind of sticking around to see what's going to happen, a little bit of that aimlessness, if you will, versus the energy that is very clear in relationality to where they're energetically going. And this is the energy that's saying, regardless of the reason as to why someone can't come towards open or express what that manifestation goal is, this is the energy saying it's not the energetic job to try to amplify what that is. This is energy that doesn't feel the desire to want to build around someone that doesn't know what they want. This is the energy saying, I'm looking for counterpart energy that has that same ability to observe and to articulate what it is that they're trying to create. So we see even now that a lot of the energy right now in separation, if there is that moment of recognizing that, even now, stepping away energetically, this is energy that's feeling the catharsis of saying, these are spaces and places that would have led me to create unhealed karmic energy in the past. Why? Because if this is masculine energy that is working on not building into a space or place of illusion with the feminine, then this is masculine that sees that in feminine, sees potentially feminine energy that doesn't know what they want and goes, no, I can't do that. Right? I can't do that. No, get away. Like, that's the energy going, it's too energetically dangerous, because if I create around you and you're not with me on this, then you will feel like I'm creating a world of illusion around you. That's a masculine going, ah. And the feminine having that same journey and saying, if you're not articulating and I build energetically with you and I assume, and then I find out later that you have a different direction, then this is going to create a lot of conflict. So both of the energies in healing right now, taking the same energetic lesson, and if they're doing that, they're going, whew, like just avoided an energetic crisis, right? While for the masculine, and I have to stress here, for the masculine and feminine energy, even if there were conversations here and these energies do not have the same manifestation goal, you guys are still moving closer into divine union. I got to tell you, like there's some energy right now that's just like, you know what? We just had this really productive conversation and we want different things. But that doesn't mean that there's something over there. There's a lot of energy that's like suddenly becoming very flexible because they just experience the energy that's open enough to be able to articulate what they want. And when someone is able to articulate what you want, well, then you can have a point of discussing what that could look like. So you see even now that that ability to be able to amplify and articulate, it allows for the pathwork of possibility to occur. While we see now that for a lot of the energy right now deep in the heart, and that's what we see, some of the energy right now that's coming into divine union, right, is like, well, you know, we talked and we don't want the same things, but I don't know, maybe I do want, you know, like that's that moment because you're feeling that sense of energetic connection in someone who thinks the same way you do. It opens the realm of curiosity and possibility because you see the sense and the ability of being able to discuss what that is. While for masculine and feminine energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, this is the energy that's just like just moving very rapidly into things very quickly right now. Because what occurs in those moments that you share the same like this is the energy being like, yeah, I know it seems like things are moving very quickly, but in my defense, like this is the energy going, I didn't realize I was going to meet someone who like shares my manifestation goals. All of my insecurities, they have a framework for. They're very honest. It feels like we've done all the same path work. Like that's the energy that's like, that's that moment of saying like, I'm not moving towards someone because of the manifestation goal. I'm moving towards a manifestation goal because I've met the energetic counterpart that allows the manifestation to occur much more rapidly, right? And that feeling of energetic surprise is occurring across like all of the channels, if you will. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our moon card in its reversal and our knight of swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. There it is. This card may look familiar. We've got our 8 of swords out. Again, it's amazing. It's amazing what happens with a little productive communication. So for masculine and feminine energy that is deep in the heart of the divine union frequency. This is why it's like the funny thing about a lot of the energy right now, that's the energy in the divine union frequency, is there's that moment that we're seeing right now that just feels like that moment, like the energy around the energy in the divine union frequency. It's like all the energy around the energy in the divine union frequency is confused and surprised because we're seeing that a lot of the energy in the divine union frequency is moving very quickly. They're moving forward on manifestations much more quickly, and it may feel like to some of the energy around them that this is appearing like out of thin air. But what's effectively happening for a lot of this energy right now that is deep in the heart of the divine union frequency is a lot of that energy, that inevitability point, feeling that sense of alignment where everything feels like it's like everything just falling naturally into place. That sense of, again, finding the ability to navigate through someone else's insecurities, building in that space of recognizing that you shared the manifestation goal. It's almost that moment where like the energy is trying to explain to those around them and saying, well, we're moving this quickly because it just seems like it seems nonsensical not to. Right? It just almost feels like that moment that creates that amplification point, specifically because it just seems like the most natural thing to do, right? While for masculine and feminine energy that's coming into the divine union frequency right now, the reason I'm laughing is I'm seeing that there is a lot of energy right now that is moving into the divine union frequency that just had an honest conversation, but potentially articulated that they wanted different things energetically. Now, what is happening in that modality where we have healed energy that is articulating to each other openly about what their manifestation goals are. And then having that moment going, oh, it's okay. We must want different things. What is that energy doing now? Now the energy is reconsidering their manifestation goals. The energy is reconsidering their manifestation goals because the energy is now, both of the energies are adaptable enough. They see they just experienced a moment that they healed something from the past by having an honest, open, transparent, clear conversation with someone. Something that may have created a massive rift in the past for these energies was just done with a level and degree of easement that it was like this. And looking at that and going that was like that ability to be able to have something that feels so energetically easy. Suddenly these energies are going, suddenly the energy is going, well, maybe, now we see that there's that sense of energetic flexibility there, because these are energies that are now looking towards the other and saying, well, what can we create in the space between? What can we create in the space between? Where can we, do you see how these energies, what they were articulating to each other like this, and then they just said, but wait, maybe there's a place we can meet. You see? So masculine and feminine, but the energy in separation right now is the energy that simply did not see the communication there. The energy that effectively asked for those manifestation goals, the ability to articulate on it. And again, this is energy right now that basically is in that modality, if in separation. If that was the energy that went to that, I'll put it this way, if this is masculine energy that took that step forward and articulated that to the feminine, that was the masculine that needed to see it back, right? So if that was the masculine energy that didn't see that coming back, this is the masculine saying the same thing that the feminine is saying. I cannot build forth with someone without that ability to articulate what it is that you want to create with. This is the masculine saying, I do not, if this is a feminine that is saying almost like even energetically, I don't know, I'm taking wait or see. This is almost masculine healed going, I can't. I need you to know what it is that you energetically want, because this is the masculine energy that has trepidation working towards feminine that doesn't know what it is that they energetically want, because this is masculine that's trying to recover from spaces or places wherein they felt that sense of potentially leading the feminine inadvertently off their own path work. So this is almost a masculine energy that's almost saying to the feminine, I want to make sure that you know what you want, because when you know what you want, you energetically protect me. Right? That's a masculine healing going, I want you to know what you want because you energetically protect me in the process. While for the feminine energy, if this is a masculine energy that isn't able to articulate what those manifestation goals are, this is the feminine looking towards the masculine saying either one of two things is happening, and it breaks my heart because I can't tell which. Either you don't have the energetic confidence to articulate what it is you dream. I can't help you fix that. Only you can fix that. Or there's something about your manifestation goal that you don't want to articulate to me because you don't think I will share it. And I can't work with that. I refuse. So we see even now that the energy of the feminine, if that's happening, even now, it feels like that sense of clarity that's coming to the feminine, because in both of these contexts, that's that moment of saying, I'm experiencing something. I cannot do anything about it. I'm just observing it. And and the ability to move away from something in that modality, in a place or space that you may have lingered prior, that in itself feels like an accomplishment or a hurdle that's being reached by a lot of energy and separation, because this is the energy realizing and saying, I'm doing the right thing for myself energetically. I'm doing this in a way that's like energetically impactful and healing because I understand why I'm doing it in that way. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Swords in its reversal and our Knight of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, oh, beautiful. Do you see? I'm going to say, even for energy right now that is experiencing this in separation, the ability to observe something and say, nope, no, thank you. Nope. Like, nope. Your nope is also a manifestation, okay? Your ability to say no to something, your ability to say, I cannot. That ability of looking at something and saying, I can't. Like that ability for a lot of the energy in separation right now is also feeling like a healing gesture, because that is that moment of feeling the expressiveness of recognizing the work that you may have been experiencing over this past cycle. So if this is masculine energy that is being very open and authentic towards the feminine, but they're not getting that back in kind, or the feminine is saying, well, I'm just kind of flexible, I don't really know what I want, I'm kind of leaving myself open to anything. This is the masculine that's almost feeling and experiencing that moment of saying, in a past experience, I would have moved towards this. In a past experience, I would have allowed this. But this is almost a masculine energy saying, I want the feminine to know what it is that they want, not just to leave themselves overly adaptable to anything. Because that's the masculine saying, my own ability of not creating around a feminine and then having the feminine be upset energetically about where they find themselves in that moment of over adaptability. That's how the masculine is almost energetically protecting their own self, because that's the masculine saying, I want you to want the things that I want. I don't want you to want the things I want simply because I want them. I want you to want the things that I want as well. While for the feminine, and that ability of masculine, seeing the potentiality and stepping back from something feels like an energetic victory for the masculine, because that's a masculine saying, I'm not going to repeat an energetic cycle where I'm trying to fulfill a need that isn't being articulated or expressed clearly. While for the masculine, the feminine energy, that ability of recognizing and saying to the self, my job is not to build a connection with masculine on the hope that one day the masculine will reveal their manifestation goal. This is the feminine energy reaffirming and saying the masculine energy that is on the healing journey will articulate what their manifestation goal is, because they'll have one and they'll want to share it with me prior to building an energetic connection. This is the feminine energy. If they're feeling that reluctance on the part of a masculine, this is the feminine energy going, there's either one of two things that are happening right now. I told you. That's the feminine just accepting and saying either one of two things are happening. If they're not willing to open up and reveal it, they either don't have the energetic courage to. They haven't worked through enough of their own ability to be vulnerable, to express what their dream and desire is. That's not going to fix itself. That's going to be the circumstance of building with that energy. Doesn't fix it. Or this is the energy saying, this is a masculine that isn't willing to reveal their manifestation goal to the feminine because they don't feel like the feminine would share it. And the feminine saying, either way, gotta walk around it. I can't, like that's a feminine saying and this is the thing with the feminine, the possibility that it's this one is just as proportionate as this one. But this is the feminine energy saying the energetic risk is too great. The energetic risk is too great to assume that it's coming from a lack of energetic courage and not the other reason. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is that, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm seeing a lot of energy right now that is coming into divine union, and you just openly expressed your manifestation goals, and they're different. And what are these energies doing? Well, they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. It's rattling around in that box, because that's that moment that someone says, wow, that person was really honest. That person was really clear. That person knew what they wanted. So even now, these are either spaces or places where there's still an energetic connection that is being formed. But there's also a little bit of energetic flexibility that's happening both for masculine and feminine right now, because now it's like, it's not that moment. These aren't energies that are like, oh, we want different things. They're going, is that something I could want? Is there maybe, like, you see what I mean? Like there's that consideration point because the clarity was reached. And now these energies, what are they doing? They're potentially going, oh, is there a place that we can meet? Is there a happy medium, right? While for masculine and feminine, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency right now, this is that beautiful, inevitable pull that we're seeing. And for a lot of the energy right now, a lot of that is potentially having to bring energy around you on board to what is energetically happening in the moment, because this energy is moving so quickly right now, because it feels so energetically inevitable. This is that moment that almost feels like it's hard to articulate and explain, because this is the energy almost saying, well, I didn't expect to feel like this either. This is the energy going, I didn't expect to feel like this either, because that is that moment that it doesn't feel like the movement towards a manifestation goal is the purpose of it. It feels more like the energy saying it just seems silly not to. Right? It's not required, but this is the energy just saying, I'm trying to like the prioritization point has become the energetic counterpart in such a way that it feels like it's undeniable. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Swords in its reversal and our Three of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Queen of Cups in its reversal. So, masculine and feminine energy, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency. This is why we see even now a lot of this energy is working, is just, it feels like everything is energetically shifting to a certain extent, because the energy did not expect to find themselves feeling this way. This is the energy that even now, like trying to like articulate, it feels like a lot of things are energetically changing now. But that's specifically due to that feeling that the energy has had in relationality to experiencing a moment that they weren't anticipating energetically feeling like this, right? We see even now that a lot of that energetic equivalent here is almost that moment that they're like, everything is being reestablished to a certain extent, because what happens in that moment where suddenly your prioritization point becomes the energetic counterpart. These aren't energies that feel like they're moving away from their own priorities or path of purpose by moving towards the other. This is the energy that feels like they're more energetically complete with the energetic counterpart. And that ability of doing so shifts the prioritization point. They're literally creating something from nothing here. So we see a lot of that energy. It feels like they're breaking new ground, right? It feels like they're opening up all of those possibilities. And these aren't energies that are doing it for the counterpart energy. They're doing it because to not do it, it feels oppositional. It feels like not being with the counterpart feels energetically wrong now, because it feels like you feel more yourself when you're with the energetic counterpart, right? While for masculine and that ability of doing so, and it's happening so quickly, bringing the energy around you on board and helping them understand, it's like that in itself feels like a little bit of the challenge point for a lot of the energy right now, because there's a lot of surprise energy here. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, I'm telling you right now, the reason I'm laughing about this so much is that there were some energies right now that had open conversations about those manifestation goals. There could even be a moment right now where I'm seeing some energy that had open conversations about manifestation goals, recognizing and identifying that you want different things, but the ability to have an open conversation and then not energetically take it personally that the other person desires something different. This is energy that's suddenly leaving themselves open to the possibility and potentiality of their own manifestation goals. They're almost like creating that sense. This is either the energy that's holding optimism and saying, well, maybe their manifestation goals would change. And then the minute someone says, well, maybe their manifestation goals will change, what happens in that moment? Someone else going, maybe my manifestation goals can change. This is the energy that's keeping that sense of energetic creativity open, because they're feeling that authenticity of the energetic connection that is forming. And that ability there, it's like that is now that moment that it really depends. This is where that modality comes into play of identifying and saying, is there that adaptability point there? Or is it a bridge too far, right? They're like, these are the energies. They're like, maybe I could build another bridge. Maybe there's another bridge. Maybe there's a bridge I can create between these places. The energy in separation right now, I'm seeing that a lot of the energy in separation right now, the only place I'm seeing that this is potentially leading to the dissolution of anything that started to form here, particularly over that Taurus season, has to do with either, again, masculine energy seeing too much flexibility in the feminine energy, too much uncertainty, too much of the feminine being in a space of feeling some kind of energetic confusion, or saying themselves, like leaving themselves too open in possibilities. Because that, again, that is creating for a lot of the healed masculine energy and separation of fear and anxiety, of not wanting to repeat a karmic cycle wherein they feel that the feminine energy that isn't able to express what it is that they're aspiring for, that creates a position where it allows the masculine to build something around the feminine. But that means if the feminine's too changeable, then it doesn't feel like something that the masculine's creating with the feminine. That's a masculine fearing that sense of not wanting to inadvertently create a space or place where the feminine may come into a place of accusing them of building a world of illusion, or not having that same energetic buy-in as the masculine. So this is actually the masculine energy seeing the possibility of building forth with a feminine in that modality, and almost stepping back from them, because that's the masculine energy saying, I can't take that energetic risk. While for the feminine energy, this is the feminine energy. If this is feminine energy looking towards masculine and asking and articulating on what their manifestation goals are, and masculine is showing that inability to express it, this is the feminine saying this is an energy that's either not come into their own sense of strength through vulnerability to be able to tell me what they dream, or this is a masculine energy that doesn't want to share or reveal their manifestation goal with me. Both of those energies stepping back and saying it's too great a risk. It's too great an energetic risk. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Three of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Eight of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Here it is. Clarification coming through right now with our Hierophant in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy in separation. Like the only energy I'm seeing here that's potentially stepping back away from a possible new energetic connection is if the request or the ability to see the manifestation goals isn't energetically appearing. Because that modality, and I have to stress this is not energy that's looking towards the counterpart and saying, I want commitment right now. Like, tell me what manifestation is because I want the commitment. This is the energy that wants to see if the energy is committed to a path. Like, are you on a path? Do you have a path? Do you know where you're going? Right? Like, that is the amplification point that we're effectively seeing that is happening right now for both masculine and feminine energy on the healing journey in separation. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine and feminine doing that both for the reasons of saying their own, it feels like a bit of an energetic test right now for a lot of the energy going through that process, because the possibility and potentiality of proceeding forward without that clear manifestation goal is there, is present. But this is the energy that's almost looking at those situations and circumstances and saying the risk is too great. The risk is too great to be able to do that. There's too great a risk, because while there may be a possibility that is something that could happen later down the line, the recognition point that some of the energy has specifically working through healing cycles because they were building off the assumption that would come. That is the energy saying it's not required to build in that assumption. The manifestation should not be a prize that is delivered after an energetic connection is made. The manifestation goal should be a requirement to engage in an energetic connection. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into the divine union, what do we see that's happening right now for a lot of the energy that's just arrived into the divine union frequency? These are energies that just had very open, productive conversations about those manifestation goals. And even if these manifestation goals were not the same, what is happening right now for the energy that's healed? Flexibility. There's that question. There's that questioning of the self going, well, maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe I can change my mind. That is that energy that's keeping themselves flexible, because the gift of communication, the openness, the clarity of something being able to be articulated in such a way has opened the door to all sorts of new possibilities. While for masculine and feminine, and that ability of saying, is there a middle ground? Is there a moment that we can meet, right? That is the flexibility. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, this is the energy that is the surprise moment of being like, things are just moving very, very quickly right now. Like everything is just like full steam ahead to a certain extent, because these energies are in alignment with what they want to create and how they want to create and what they want to build. And so in that moment or modality, this is why we see that moment of amplification is happening so quickly, and can almost feel like a little bit sudden for a lot of the energy around these energies right now, because that ability of feeling that, finding the counterpart, building into that state of energetic trust, that feels like that momentum that just quickly increases, because that's that moment, like it's like, green flag. Like if you're not seeing anything that feels like it would stop you from moving in that direction, that's the energy that feels the inevitability and saying, well, why wait? Like what are we waiting for, right? That's the energy is going, there's nothing to energetically wait for because we found it, right? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Eight of Wands in combination with our Tower card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Ace of Swords in its reversal. This is what we're talking about with that energy deep in the heart of the divine union frequency. It's the inevitability, right? That's the energy right now. They're moving in such a way. The energy, it's not that the energy even feels like they're doing anything. It doesn't feel like they're making these choices. They're just moving inevitably, because there's that sense that says like, it feels almost like that act of energetic surrender to move in that way. It feels almost like that beautiful, it's like that beautiful energetic surrender, which comes in that space or place of just like allowing for that inevitability point to occur. Just letting that happen is almost like that moment. This is why we see, because it feels like the most natural, easy thing to do. Because that is that moment that says like, I'm not even doing this. It just feels like it's just falling naturally into place. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, and that ability of allowing it to happen feels like it's restoring anything around you that now feels like it's the obstruction point. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, the reason I keep laughing is I see that a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now is having that modality where you're like, oh, we want different things. Do I want that? Do I really want that? Maybe there's something here. Maybe there's some meeting point that we get, because this is the energy that even now is feeling that healing and being like the ability to communicate openly about what you aspire and desire, even if it is energetically different. It feels like a vindication. It feels like a breakthrough. And even now we see that these energies right now are looking towards one another and asking both themselves and saying, well, maybe they're flexible. Well, maybe I'm flexible. Maybe anything is possible. So that ability of navigating forward in a space of feeling that flexibility of possibility right now is a lot of that energy that is continuing to potentially communicate about what could potentially exist between them. Because there's that moment that says, like, again, I told you, that energy is trying to navigate and reorganize where they fall within each other's lives energetically. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, the only space I'm truly seeing, a place or space wherein there is what we would like to identify as something that feels like a stepping away from something right now. Even stepping away from something in this modality, it feels like a moment of vindication and catharsis. Because that moment, for a lot of the masculine and feminine energy, walking back from something that you would have potentially walked into in the past that may have created a huge struggle for you. This is the energy observing a situation before it occurs and going, no, thank you, right? That is that moment that feels like an accomplishment for both masculine and feminine energy. And that's because you're recognizing the fact that you've healed to such an extent that you're avoiding what could be a repetition of an energetic lesson. So for feminine energy right now, if that's the masculine not being able to articulate upon what it is that they want as a manifestation goal, this is the feminine energy reaffirming and saying they have that manifestation goal. It's not like that manifestation goal just like appears at the moment that we come into connection. This is the feminine energy saying it's not my job to figure out why. It's not my job to wait for them to feel like they're finally ready to reveal it to me. This is the feminine energy saying it's there or it's not. And the feminine energy is being able to step back from something and say, it's not my job to generate and to win the accomplishment of a masculine revealing their manifestation goal to me. That's the feminine saying, I've already succeeded. Even in separation, feminine's going, crisis energetically avoided. I just avoided potentially walking back into the same energetic lesson that may have put me on this journey not too long ago. While for masculine energy, that ability of seeing a feminine energy that is too flexible, that is too adaptable, that is too uncertain as it relates to what it is that they want or their ability to articulate upon what that is also masculine energy. That is seeing the possibility and potentiality of building forth with the feminine and saying, I have to be energetically cautious here. I've experienced moments in the past where, again, the flexibility of the feminine became less that moment of a feminine that was flexible versus a feminine that did not know what they wanted. And when I try to build with a feminine that doesn't know what I want, that can almost create that moment of never being able to do something energetically correct because it feels like the boundaries shift too much. So we see even now both of these energies having that validation point and not potentially seeing a manifestation goal presenting itself, taking that, seeing the possibility of moving forward and then going, oh, no, I've already done that before. That feels bittersweet. It feels like a victory, but it's also that affirmation of saying, wow, I've crossed a hurdle because I typically in the past would have moved towards that regardless. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Cups in its reversal and our Hierophant in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Lovers in its reversal. If this card looks familiar, it's because it was bottom of the deck yesterday. I'm not surprised to see this here. The thing that we're effectively seeing right now that's happening for a lot of the energy in separation is taking on a new energetic approach in relationality to building a relationship with counterpart energy. Masculine and feminine, recognizing and identifying and doing that work, it feels a little bit groundbreaking because we see even now this is energy that is reestablishing their own connection to what they're seeking in partnership. This is the feminine energy almost saying to themselves, it's not my energetic job for the masculine to find me so captivating that they want to change all their manifestation goals. This is the feminine energy recognizing and identifying and saying, if the masculine, there's some masculine energy, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, that does not seek divine union. Doesn't seek it, don't want it, don't see the appeal of it, seems like a burden. Seems like something that feels like a cage instead of a castle. That's the feminine energy, just recognizing and saying, some masculine energy just don't want it, just doesn't want it, or hasn't done enough work on the emotional self to be able to truly build into an emotional connection point with the feminine. So this is the feminine energy saying, my job is to identify, to articulate, to remember, and look towards the masculine and say, what type of energetic connection are you seeking? And this is the feminine energy, learning the energetic lesson and saying, I'm not going to assume that all of the masculine energy wants the same things I want. Because that is the feminine energy, recognizing the difference between what looks good on paper versus what feels like a true energetic connection. While for the masculine energy on the healing journey, this is also you reaffirming that and building forward in that, because if these are spaces and places wherein you may have effectively felt like your experience was just to kind of like, find the feminine energy, build around them. Like that's the masculine energy coming into those spaces or places of saying, I don't want to feel like I'm creating this space or place that I'm building around a feminine. I want a feminine energy I feel like I'm building with. And that requires the masculine to say, I'm looking towards feminine energy that knows what it is that they want to manifest, that looks towards me as a co-creator, that we're able to build forward in that way. So that ability of masculine and feminine in that healing modality, saying that, not assuming, but building into that sense of saying, what is it that you truly manifest what are you seeking in partnership? They're, again, the energy and separation, they're almost writing the book for each other, but they're not building into that place of assumption, because they're seeing here that a lot of the healed energy has learned the lesson that when you assume, you don't confirm. And that creates a space or place that, again, for the feminine, could potentially lead you to move in a direction that isn't the one you're truly seeking. While for masculine, may feel like you're coming into that space or place that like nothing you do is energetically good enough because you're not sure what you're supposed to be creating. So we see even now that those energies potentially stepping away from what isn't, your no becomes yes in manifestation. Because that is that moment that you recognize that how do you move towards your yes if you can't identify what the no is? While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, that openness, that ability to articulate upon what it is you're seeking at this time, the ability to see an energetic counterpart that is able to navigate forward in such a way that you feel that, again, they recognize, they identify it, they're doing that work, they're able to talk about what they want to manifest. Even if these energies don't feel like they share the same manifestation goals at this time, there's still something that's energetically building between them. Because that's the feeling of a counterpart that sees things in the same way that you do. And that's that moment that the energy is considering what the other energetic energy desires to see if there's any flex space there. So for some of these energies right now, this could be creating deep friendships right now. While for some of these, this could be creating spaces of a bit of adaptability, saying, I think I can work with that. Maybe we can find a meet in the middle kind of thing. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, this is the energy that is moving towards a lot of the firming up of energetic partnerships, but it doesn't feel like it needs it. You know what I mean? It's not like moving into that deepening commitment creates that feeling, because this is the energy that recognizes that we don't move into a manifestation hoping to feel something different. This is that moment that the manifestation just secures something in a way that others can see it, but it doesn't change how you energetically feel for one another. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Hierophant in its reversal and our Ace of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Queen of Swords in its upright. They should look familiar too. I believe they were also in our spread yesterday in the same position. So for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is in the divine union frequency. Even here we see that this is the energetic equivalent of these energies. I want to keep saying this. They're not putting these tangibles into play to effectively change themselves energetically. This is that moment of, again, feeling or experiencing something and feeling that is already present. Everything else that you're putting into like that energetic practice to a certain extent, it just feels like it's creating tangibility in something that you experience within the self that is intangible. And for masculine and feminine, that ability to feel that. It almost is that amplification point of trying to have to articulate to those around you why something is happening with such a point of expedition. Because we see even now that a lot of this work that's occurring right now, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, it's almost creating that space or place that, like, helping others recognize and identify that there isn't something here that's energetically surprising, because it just feels like it's empowering. It feels like you're moving into a space or place that feels like that sense of like coming into deeper alignment with yourself. That is that moment that is almost hard to articulate and clarify to those around you. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this modality, do you see even now how these energies are having that moment of energetic flexibility, specifically due to the fact that they're seeing the aspects in the counterpart that they were seeking as it relates to moving towards them, towards each other, like on their own journey. For the feminine energy right now, if this was a masculine that was able to come towards you with a sense of openness and clarity as it relates to their manifestation goals, this is the feminine energy that's almost effectively trying to articulate and decide whether there is something there that feels flexible, or if what the masculine is seeking is a bridge too far from what they themselves are seeking. So we see even now, I keep saying that even in these moments that there wasn't an alignment of the manifestation goal, there's either some like articulation of flexibility that is coming into play about talking about what someone is and is not comfortable with, or these are energies that are still building some kind of energetic connection, but just like not in the same way, right, if you will. While for masculine, this may still be happening as well, because if this is a feminine that you're recognizing knows what they want energetically, even if it's different than what you yourself are seeking, well, you're putting a little thought into what they want, because you're seeing the fact that that sense of energetic strength is effectively like what you are seeking in counterpart. But it's just a little frustrating because it's like you're feeling that energetic strength just potentially around something different, which is why you're asking yourself, these energies are in alignment, trying to identify if there's some kind of accommodation or modification that you can make to your own manifestation goal that might allow something to be energetically possible. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation, this is the only modality we're seeing wherein this could be leading to energy just stepping away. And I don't feel like this energy is getting much of an explanation if this is happening. Because if this is feminine energy that is asked the masculine energy to articulate upon what it is that they want to manifest, and if the masculine energy is unable or unwilling to articulate what it is that they want to manifest, then that is the feminine energy saying, again, it's not the feminine energy's role or responsibility to wait and see, or to feel like something about their connection with masculine is going to earn them the masculine changing their manifestation goal. This is the feminine energy saying, I'm not going to force that spring. This is the feminine energy saying some masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, does not desire union, or not in the way that the feminine energy envisions and engenders it. So this is the feminine energy just saying, my job is not to stay and wait, even seeing if there's the possibility there. It's just to acknowledge and identify whether it's there or whether it's not. While for the masculine energy, if this is a moment where the masculine is seeking the manifestation goals from the feminine, and the feminine doesn't seem like they know energetically what they want, they seem like they're too energetically flexible, that they're leaving themselves in that space or place of just kind of taking a bit of a wait and see approach. This is also the masculine energy that's feeling that possibility of building forth in that way, but they're almost saying that the energetic risk is too high, because that is the feminine masculine energy fearing working towards a feminine that says that they're open to anything, that doesn't seem to have a manifestation goal. And then suddenly, when they're experiencing something or they're building into the manifestation of the masculine, only then does the feminine say, this is not what I energetically want. And that's the masculine feeling that anxiety of that uncertainty wounding or hurting the feminine, the masculine. So this is the masculine energy that almost feels like they're seeking the feminine energy that knows what they want, because the feminine energy that knows what they want to manifest is basically articulating to the masculine energy that the masculine energy is safe to build with them without feeling like they'll one day be held at an accountability point for what the masculine creates around the feminine energy that's too adaptable or too flexible. Final card for today's spread between our Lover's card in its reversal and our Queen of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Queen of Pentacles in their upright. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. You know, even for a lot of the feminine energy right now, if these are modalities wherein something was starting to form between you and another potential connection, this is more importantly, the most important breakthrough that the feminine energy is having right now is this is not feminine energy that is taking it personally. This is not feminine energy that is saying, is it a me thing? This is the feminine energy not internalizing, not overly internalizing an external problem. This is the feminine energy saying, if it's not there, it's not my job to ask myself if there's something here I can change or something I can adjust in my own self to bring this out in the masculine. This is the feminine energy going through a deep healing process of saying, they just might not want it. And that's also the feminine energy recognizing and saying that a lot of the masculine energy, if they don't want it, they're not going to say to me, I don't want divine union. That's the feminine energy, just being like, I just got to observe it. I just got to recognize that. And that feminine energy articulating and identifying that is the feminine energy just going like, that's fine. Feminine energy building to that point of energetic stability, not changing what they want, but almost reaffirming that. While for the masculine energy, again, if that's a feminine energy that seems unable to articulate what their manifestation goals are, too flexible, too adaptable, that's a masculine energy saying you can be flexible and adaptable, but be very strong in the process. Being open to anything doesn't mean like you're open to anything. It means that you do have some energetic standards. You are able to articulate that. You are able to discern what that flexibility is. So that's almost the masculine energy, like reaffirming to their own self and saying, I'm seeking the feminine energy that knows what they energetically want. And even if the feminine energy does not meet me there, that sense of the feminine that has that identification point in being strong in their own self, that allows me to build forth with feminine in such a way that it feels like we're doing it together instead of me building around them energetically. So masculine doing that, coming to that point of energetic strength, recognizing the confidence that occurs in the masculine, having that courage to do so. That's almost the masculine that immediately heals their connection to feminine, because that's the masculine saying, I'm just seeking the same. While for the energy right now that might be coming into divine union, even if there is a difference in some manifestation goals right now, there's a moment, as long as there's that open communication channel, as long as there's that sense of recognizing and identifying the ability to be able to articulate upon something with a sense of openness and clarity. That is what we almost see is allowing even now for energy to move into that possibility of something being there, even in that point of flexibility. And it all really depends energetically right now, because we see here that that's either a feminine energy that feels like something that the masculine brought forth is a bridge too far, right? It's either a bridge too far, in which case the feminine is not losing the energetic connection with the masculine. They're reorganizing where they are in the placement of each other's energetic lives. Or this is a feminine considering if there's something here that they could kind of find a meeting point on. Whereas for masculine, the same is true. If this is a feminine energy that you articulated your manifestation goals and you recognize they had different ones, you are now looking towards them, and their own ability to articulate on what it is that they want is leaving the possibility open to you, because you're seeing the characteristics of a feminine that you yourself were seeking to build forth with, that allows for some conversation in relationality to the shape of what that relationship is. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, some of the things we find that are funny here is just we're seeing that a lot of this energy is moving with a lot of expediency towards their manifestation goals, even faster than they may have expressed to others around them. Because this is the energy that's trying to articulate to the energy around them that this isn't a deviation from the path. This is almost that moment where you find what you energetically look for, and everything starts to move more quickly as a result of it. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is 7 of Cups in its upright. So what did we say? One of the challenges that's happening right now has to do in the realm of possibilities, right? So for masculine and feminine energy right now, one of the reasons we see that so much of that energy that's moving deep into the heart of the divine union frequency, the reason that that energy is moving with such expediency is it doesn't feel like they're moving to close and secure something. It feels like that sense of moving towards something that opens up all of the possibilities. Because what happens in those moments when you find the energy that feels like it's in alignment to you, it doesn't feel like you're closing an energetic door. It feels like you're opening a door towards possibilities, because there's that moment that feels like the reinforcement or the reamplification of what you're looking for, that just feels like that expansion point. So for a lot of the energy right now that is working deep in the heart of the divine union frequency, trying to show others that this isn't you changing course, but this is you kind of like moving forward in a way that feels like it's like that sense of coming into yourself or finding yourself. That can sometimes be hard to articulate to energy on the outside, because that's that moment that they're feeling that anxiety and fear as to why they're seeing so much of these changes happening so suddenly. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, what did we see that was happening right now? We see that for a lot of that energy, this ability of having an open conversation, potentially even recognizing that you may not be in complete alignment in relationality to what those manifestation goals are. This is that moment that it doesn't feel like a door closing. It's suddenly that energy is now leaving themselves open to new possibilities, because these energies are feeling enough of an energetic connection to one another, and that sense of being able to speak openly about what it is that they're trying to manifest, that it leaves some ground there to talk about what might be possible in the spaces between. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation, one of the hurdles that's happening right now is masculine and feminine separation. If you're stepping back from someone because you're not seeing those manifestation goals expressing themselves, it's hard, because you're potentially questioning yourself. You're potentially asking yourself to a certain extent if there's something there that if you left yourself open and available to, if something there could be changing. Like that's a lot of that energy right now that's feeling that anxiety or fear of asking themselves and saying like, am I moving too quickly? Am I worried? Am I stopping something before the possibility starts? But a lot of that energy is reminding themselves that when we work in the world of assumption, like that is that moment that like, yes, that possibility is still potentially there, but so is the possibility and that it's not. And that's why we see even now what's so difficult for a lot of the energy that's stepping back in that way. It's not that they don't see the potentiality of one of those paths being the one that might lead to divine union, right? Like, because again, for the feminine energy, there could be that feeling of saying, well, maybe this is just a masculine that hasn't come through the hump of their own vulnerability to be open about what that manifestation goal is. And for masculine, that could be that same feeling of saying, well, maybe this feminine is just trying to be flexible because they want to be with me so much that they're not able to articulate what they want. But both of these energies are almost experiencing situations from the past where they're saying to themselves, the price is too high. The risk is too energetically great, because this is energy that learned some difficult lessons in taking that energetic risk and existing in a place of assumption instead of a place of transparency. That is the daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. A few extra updates for today before we move into personal readings. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome you guys and invite you to join me on my next tarot class. Our recent class was a full dive into the Magician. This next month in June, we will be focusing on the High Priestess. That class is going to be on June 16th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do to become a part of that class is head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you entry into our live classes, as well as providing you all of the course materials and recordings for our previous classes. So you've got plenty of time to catch up. So far, we've done classes on both the Fool and the Magician. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to that course and those materials. And also, if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only do you get a discount on the full year's worth of reading of classes, but you will also receive a free one-on-one mentorship reading with me, where we will assess where you are on your own tarot and spiritual journey, and I'll give you insights to help utilize the classes and your own pathwork to the best of your advantage. One of the things I like to focus on with these classes is that I really tried to maintain building a course that would be useful for both the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's a bit of something for everyone there. So thank you to everybody who is already a part of those classes, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And even if you do not become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there, because there you will be able to receive our weekly newsletter that'll give you the times that I am online. You will also receive any updates in terms of new classes, new courses, new offerings that I may be holding available. Also, very happy to announce that we are doing our second giveaway. Thank you so much to the individual who won our first giveaway last month. This giveaway we are doing a little bit different. So this month, in order to enter the giveaway, all you need to do is fill out the 2-minute travel survey that you will find over on the link tree in the link in my bio. Your survey entry will grant you one entry in the giveaway. But at the time that I draw the winner to the giveaway, I will ask the winner who referred them to taking that survey. So whoever was the person who referred the winner will also receive a reading. So if you've already taken the survey and would like to have more entries, all you need to do is head over to there and refer a friend. Every person you refer will be another entry for you as well. Again, we are looking at doing some location-based tarot work. I have some ideas on where we might want to go, but I would really love to get your feedback on where you might like to go on those experiences. Second of all, one of the things I'm also offering now is we are also working on a few new offerings that I'm offering my clientele. First and foremost, right now, we are offering tarot mentorship classes. Those are classes that are built on an individual level, and I'm only taking a limited amount of individuals on those classes because of the nature of them. They take a lot of work on my part. So those classes can be oriented on anything that you would like to study. Those can be purchased on an individual level, or if you would prefer to purchase per month, you can have one class per month. There's a discounted rate on 4 45-minute classes. Now, the other offer that we have right now is for weekly tarot insight. For those clients that are seeking more continual routine tarot check-ins, I'm now offering a package of 4 30-minute tarot readings that you can get at a discount. Both of those offerings can be found in the link in my bio at my link tree. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again